Good morning then to Joe Ryrie, the co-founder and director of Smartphone Free Childhood. Joe, good morning. It's interesting listening to Ian Russell, isn't it? Because he is somebody that has been directly impacted by the pitfalls of social media on young people. But what do you think a ban what kind of impact would a ban have on young people?
Well, yeah, we have to listen to Ian's voice. He's obviously been suffered kind of the worst possible harms that any parent could imagine due to social media. But we also have to listen to the increasing voices of parents all across the country who are coming together to say we need much more to be done here, because social media platforms have had years to show that they can keep children safe, and they just haven't done it. We keep seeing the same things. Kids are being shown harmful content, bullying, harassment, addictive algorithm that keeps them scrolling. Children spending 5, 6, 7, 8 hours a day online on their phones on social media, and this is not the kind of childhood that parents across the country want for their kids. So at some point you have to say, okay, the current system, albeit there's been a lot of improvements and the Online Safety Act has been brought in, and that's a good start, but we need to also take more radical action. So the campaign that we started only on Tuesday this week, we encouraged people in our community to email their MP to support raising the age of social media to 16, has been we've seen an absolutely phenomenal response to it. We've had over 200,000 people in the UK have emailed their MP in the last 4 days saying that we need much more to be done here, and we need to raise the age on social media to be raised to 16. So there's a phenomenal strength of feeling across the UK, and MPs have been telling us they've rarely seen anything like this. But it's not actually really that surprising, because this issue affects every single family in the UK, it affects every single parent in the UK, it affects every single young person in the UK, and it cuts across class and politics. Everyone's saying the same thing, that these platforms have far too great an influence over our children's lives, and we need to do more to protect children.
If that is the case then, Joe, and your campaign is urging the government to get involved here, how much then do we have to put the control, or give the control back to the parents, and for the parents to then be able to monitor how much their own children are using? Is this something that not maybe starts at home, perhaps?
Well, I think we have to remember that, of course, all parents have a responsibility to be involved in their children's online lives, and we're not for a second suggesting that we need to outsource parenting to the government. That's not what this is about at all. Parents are just really struggling up against some of the most powerful pieces of technology that have ever been designed in history. So I think we've got to remember that the platforms the companies that own these platforms have a very simple business model, which is to maximize attention and maximize engagement, and turn all of our attention and our children's attention into profit. And so children's time, their focus, and their emotional vulnerability have become the kind of raw material for these businesses. And so it's not surprise that it's no surprise that parents are struggling to deal with this, and they need more support, because these systems have been engineered by the most powerful companies in human history to capture our attention and our children's attention. And they also rely on network effects, so that the more children that are on them, the harder it is to not be on them. So as a parent, if you face this impossible position where you either say, you either allow your children access to an adult environment, an adult platform, and it's really important to say that social media platforms are adult environments, even though there's widespread evidence of the sort of harmful consequences, and some of them are very, very severe, of children spending too much time on social media platforms. Or you say, no, you're not allowed, and then that causes, you risk alienating your children from their peer group when all their friends are on there. So that's exactly the kind of systemic societal problem that requires more intervention from government.
How difficult, though, do you think it will be, Joe, to impose a ban or enforce this ban? I mean, it's been introduced, of course, in Australia. We're well across that. But there are reports of young people, they get around it, they wrinkling their faces to look older is what I've been told, or going and fooling these age checks. Now, how difficult will that be to enforce?
Yeah, it's not... The question isn't really whether this policy is perfect, whether it would be, no one's expecting that if you raise the age limit on social media to 16, that there would be no children that would get around it. Some children would get around this policy, and just like they would with other age limits on alcohol or, age limits on films. But the question is not about whether this policy is perfect. The question is whether it would be better than this current status quo. Any policy is about weighing up the pros and cons, and this wouldn't fix every problem. Some children would get around it, but what we need to do is reset the norm. At the moment, the norm is for all children from a very young age to be on these platforms that are not designed for them, and that is creating a huge amount of harm and a huge amount of risk. So and opting out becomes very, very hard. So a clear age limit kind of flips that, and it makes not being on social media the default, which takes the pressure off children and parents. So yeah, just because it's difficult to enforce, and there would be some kids that get around it, it's no reason to abandon the idea of trying to solve a problem that is becoming increasingly right at the top of every parent's and every family's sort of list of worries in 2026. We need to do something. We're not trying to the goal isn't perfection. It's about changing a damaging norm.
Okay, well, Joe, I'm sure we'll be speaking to you plenty over the next few months as this continues to gather some sort of momentum as we're seeing online. Joe Ryrie there, the co-founder and director of Smartphone Free Childhood. We have had this. The Department of Science, Innovation and Technology says it's committed to keeping children safe online and will continue to develop policy informed by the best available evidence. The time is 7:20.